Biggest struggle that I see guys struggle with, and I hear from them all the time, is running out of things to say. And the first biggest struggle is what to say and how to approach women and approach anxiety. And what what I'm going to tell you here is that the biggest reason guys have a fear of approaching and have approach anxiety is because they're afraid of what to say after the approach. If you weren't worried about running out of things to say, and you knew how to follow up and carry a good conversation, then you would not be afraid of approaching in the first place. So this is, which we're going to claim now, is the biggest sticking point that most guys have. It's something that plagued me for many years. I was so afraid to talk to a woman, walk up to her, start a conversation, and run out of things to say. God forbid I ran out of things to say. So what I want to do in this video is go over, we have five different points here, and we're going to dive into these. And ways that you can carry a fun and interesting and attraction building conversation. Okay, I teach entire programs on this, and I'm gonna give you some material that I cover usually exclusively on my 3-day boot camps, and I'll give you some awesome stuff. Okay, so this is a huge problem, and I want to help you out with this here. So let's start with the top right. Okay, if you want to stop running out of things to say, we want to start with your interests. Okay, and by this is sharing things about yourself and painting the picture of who you are. So if you don't have any interests, first off, you need to cultivate them, okay? I have a lot of guys where I'm like, what are you interested in? And the point that I bring that up is because if you don't have anything you're interested in, what the hell are you going to talk to girls about, right? You want to talk about things that are interesting and things that you like, right? That's how you carry a good conversation and paint who you are. So if you don't have any, then you need to cultivate them, okay? You want to cultivate them because it makes you more interesting. Okay, the fact that you've traveled a little bit, the fact that you know about nutrition, the fact that you know about happiness and social dynamics or anything like that. Those are just some of my interests. It makes for a lot more of an interesting conversation. I have a friend who knows personality types and talks to girls about different personality types. So you want to cultivate things that you're interested in. It also builds your confidence in yourself. A student of mine actually said it a month ago in our boot camp that said, confidence comes through skill, right? When you build skills and get good at something, it builds your confidence. As an example, could you imagine if you started going to boxing classes or to jiu-jitsu class and you learned how to throw a punch and defend yourself? I guarantee your confidence in yourself would come up rapidly. What if you went to a dance class and learned how to dance? What if, you gain some expertise in some area? You're going to build a lot of confidence and faith in yourself. So building your skills and your interests is going to be huge. And a good question to get this going, and pause this video and take a second if this resonates with you. The question is, what would you like to try and get into? Okay, think about it. What's something that you've always wanted to do that you'd like to get into? Or you could say, what's something you'd like to get back into? So for me, it was getting back into, well, for you, it could be getting back into fitness, right? It could be getting back into some type of sport or activity that you like, whatever it may be. So think what you would like to get into. For me, it was dance. Last year, I wound up getting into dance. Then I stopped for a bit, and I'm going to get back into it. Actually, tomorrow, head back to another dance class, right? So these are a great way to start. And then once you have these interests cultivated, you want to talk about them. And how do you talk about them? You want to act interested in them, okay? I have so many guys, they share things about themselves like, yeah, I play guitar. Or yeah, I go to the gym, right? And they're not even interested in their own interests. You want to share as well what interests you about them. I'm really getting caught up on this interest word. But if you want to be interesting, right? Because that's the big thing. This is why I go, what are your interests? Because if you want to attract women, you have to be an interesting guy. And a lot of times guys will ask me as well, how do I be more interesting? Well, it's simple. Cultivate and do more things and have more interests and talk about them in the proper way. Act interested in them and share what interests you about them, right? Because another question I get, guys, is, I had a student last weekend. He said, what did he say? He had very cool interests, but he said, I don't think any girls are going to be interested in talking about economics. And I said, well, let's talk about why you're interested in economics. And he shared it in a lot of ways, and then in a lot of different ways. And then we talked about how fiat currency is, and the government prints so much money with inflation, and how back in the day, money used to stand for gold, and you could walk into a bank and hand in your $10 and say, hey, this is a certificate. Here's my $10. And they would give you $10 worth of gold. And it was all just pretty much like I said, a certificate that would warrant you that amount of gold, which was really interesting. And I said, man, that's a cool thing. That sounds cooler than talking about your job you hate if you hate your job. But there's just definitely interesting ways of sharing things. And not only that, if you talk about why you're interested in it, right? A girl may not play guitar, but I can talk about how it's an expressive outlet for me. And it's a great feeling to hear something on the radio and actually be able to create it and play it yourself, If you talk about, or photography, right? How you get to capture a moment perfectly and it's art for everybody else. If you share what interests you about what you do, then you're going to be interesting. Okay. So that's a big thing, is to cultivate and share your interests. I mean, so many guys just do not have an issue just bringing up things about themselves. So your interests are very important to talk about. And how do you get into them? That's another thing I would add here. How do you get into your interests? So say you're into the gym. You can ask the girl, do you work out? Say you're into photography. Say, have you ever tried photography before? Say, you're into dance. Be like, you ever take dance classes, right? Just ask a question and then tell a story and share what you're into. Now, another thing to do, let's save the what are you looking for later. Let's go over here. Listening is another huge thing that guys have an issue with. And when I ever say guys, I'm not condemning anybody or speaking down. Trust me, I was the worst of all the guys out there. So these are things that I struggled with myself as well. But now I've found solutions to them, so I'm happy to share them with you to improve your life. Listening is huge. A great quote I got from one of the instructors who taught me was that the girl will give you all the material that you need. So back in the day, we would memorize routines and lines and all these other things and have a whole script written out, so we can carry a conversation, a monologue like a stand-up comedian till the day we died, right? But, if you actually listen to what the girl's saying, she will give you feedback. And not only that, she will give you topics. Many things will pop up. She'll talk about where she's from. That's one city. She'll talk about what she did last weekend, and that's an activity. Then she'll talk about something her friend said, and that's another interest. Then she'll talk about this. And now you have all these different topics where you could pick any one of them and branch it out into a tree and kind of go for it. So you have to pay attention to what the girl's saying rather than being so focused on what you're saying that you're not even in the conversation, okay? Another thing, too, is it gets the girl invested. If you're a guy who she told a lot of information about herself, that's one thing I tell guys when they get a flaky phone number. If they get a number and a girl doesn't text back the next day, I say, how much did she tell you about herself? And they're usually like, well, the first question I ask is, how much do you remember about her? What do you remember about her? And sometimes they're like, and they can barely remember her name. So if she didn't share much and didn't invest, it's probably why you're going to get flaky phone numbers. And the old school rule was the 90-10 rule. Okay, so I referred to this before. We really memorized a lot of scripts so that we could do 90% of the talking and that women could do 10% of the talking. I went on to learn from another dating guru who was really awesome. And he said that this 90-10 rule should actually flip around. Now, in the beginning, when you approach a woman, you want to provide some value and share some things in the conversation. It wouldn't be the worst idea to do a little 90-10 action in the first minute or two, but very quickly, the women love talking. Very quickly, the conversation could turn to 90-10 in her favor. And that way you could listen, pick up the material that you want, and then out of what you're listening and getting from her, you could start to screen for what you're looking for. We'll get to that in a second. Well, actually, since we led into it, let's just go right into it. So once you flip around that 90-10 and now she's talking and you're listening to her, then we can go over to this category, which is screening. We call it qualification as well. The first question you have to ask yourself, and once again, pause this video if you need to, and take some time for yourself to answer this question. What is your end goal? What do you want with women? Now, I am not a pushy dating instructor. I like to give you skills and give you guidance and direction, but I'm not the cookie cutter, one-size-fits-all, tell you what to do type of thing. Look, you tell me what your goal is. Do you want a girlfriend? Do you want to get some experience? Do you want to just practice your skills? Do you want to build a social circle? I mean, what do you want? What is your end goal? Because depending on what your end goal is, then you're going to have to screen for what you want. Okay, let's say you want to get a girl's number and take her on a date during the week. So you'll have to talk to her, kind of see what her schedule is like, see if you guys get along, right? You're going to have to screen her out for somebody who you'd be willing to spend a few hours with, right? Somebody who could have a good conversation and who would be open to dating and going out. So that's one way. If your end goal is just to work on your skills, well, then you may find that all you need to do for that is just to approach and carry your conversation and work on what your next sticking point is, which may be just working on these things, right? If your goal now is to just work on your carrying a conversation, then your goal right now may be just to talk about your interests, right? Or maybe to work on your flirting. And we'll talk about flirting in a second. So that may be your goal. And depending on that, that's what you want to focus on. But if you want a relationship or anything like that, or you want to, move things further along, then you have to ask yourself, what type of girl do you want? And what do you want from her? So you have to screen from it. A lot of guys, I'd say the biggest goal I get from guys is I want to gain more confidence with women, and then I want to, play the field, date around a little bit, and then find a girl I really like and settle down with. That's usually the main goal, okay? And if that's the goal, then you want to make a list of qualities of things that you want in a woman. This is another opportunity for you. I encourage you once again, pause this video, or even if you're not going to pause the video and do it now, just write down, these points of reflection so that after this video, you can go into your journal and write these things down and really come up with a game plan for yourself. And one of those things that you should do is make a list of qualities that you're looking for in a woman, okay? You want someone with a sense of humor, someone who has a career, somebody who is maybe open to having kids one day, somebody who doesn't like to party too much, maybe somebody who's fit, right? That's a big one for me. And you can make a whole long list of somebody who's positive, somebody who has a lot of friends, somebody who's close with their family, whatever you're looking for. Don't let me put those in your mouth, but whatever qualities you're looking for. And then out of that list, if you have too many, then you're going to be single till the day you die. You'll be that skeleton there, and your family's asking when you're going to settle down. But make that list of qualities that you want, and then what I want you to do is highlight the non-negotiables. Okay, 3 to 5 non-negotiables for you. Right? If I was looking to date a girl seriously, some non-negotiables for me would be someone who is fit and healthy. That's a total non-negotiable for me. Someone who has a sense of humor. Total non-negotiable, and someone who has a positive outlook, or let's say, okay, sense of humor, fit, positive outlook, and then another non-negotiable would definitely be some intelligence. Somebody who likes to read and learn and can have a deeper conversation. So say those are my 4 non-negotiables. The cool thing is once you brainstorm the huge list first, don't put them in order yet, then highlight your non-negotiables, and then once you have those, you can use those for meeting options, okay? So one of my biggest non-negotiables is a girl who's healthy and fit. So if that's what I'm looking for, and I'm actually looking to find a girlfriend, which I'm not at the moment, but if I was, you better believe I'd be more open to going to yoga classes. I'd be more open to going to healthy food seminars. My favorite place, heaven on earth for me, is fitness expos, okay? Every girl is fit there. They love working out. They have discipline. They take care of their bodies. So if I'm looking for a girlfriend, you better believe that I'm going to go to the places, that highlight my non-negotiables. If you want a girl that's smart, maybe, business networking groups or entrepreneurial groups or something like that. Or the library. You want a girl who reads, you go to the library. That may be a place where you can run into her, or Barnes & Noble or something like that. Or tell Jeff Bezos to tell you what chicks are buying all the books. So that can be a really cool bonus that you could do. Now let's go over here and talk about normal conversation. Normal conversation is going to be, your fluff, the normal thing that goes on. You want to add in your interests. You want to listen. You want to do some screening. But mostly it's going to be normal conversation. And back in the day, they used to say, don't ask normal questions and this and that. Listen, you have to build a base level of rapport with the girl. You need to know where she's from. You need to know where she lives. It's good to know at some point what she does during the week and all that. It's okay to build a base level rapport. How she knows her friends and all these other things like that. What you don't want to do is most guys, okay? We have all these options, including flirting, like I said, we'll get to. We have all these options, but most guys just jump right into just question. What do you do? Where are you from? Where'd you go to school? And then just bore the girl to damn tears. They don't talk about their interests. They don't actually listen. They're just thinking the next question. They don't have any screening, right? Because think about how important screening is. This shows that a guy can get women, right? And now he wants to go for the type of women that he wants. So screening is very important, and it builds a lot of attraction as well. All these things build attraction, except for just asking a bunch of questions in a row. But you have to do that to build a base level rapport, build comfort. And then a great thing you could do is a little trick I tell guys all the time: answer the questions about yourself, right? So if you ask a girl where she's from, she answers. Now go and answer the question for yourself. Oh yeah, I'm actually from here. And then you want to act interested and you want to give a little more material, okay? If you ask where a girl's from and she says, okay, I'm from New York, then that's all she gives you. Now you want to tell where you're from, but you don't want to give a one-word response. You want to give some value now and disclose some information about yourself. Makes her want to reciprocate. So there's a better way of having a normal conversation as well. Just doing that will help you carry conversations much longer and getting to know people a little bit better. Now here's the icing on the cake. The real money right here is the flirting, and this is really how you break out of the complete boring conversation. Now, the first thing to mention is Flirting 101. Okay, it's the free guide that I have on my site. I actually have a great YouTube video on it as well that you can watch. They're both free. I definitely encourage you to go to my site, joeducard.com, and grab yourself the free copy of that guide. The true story, a buddy of mine who's a marketer said, hey man, the first thing you give away to your audience should hurt you to give away for free because it's so good. So I made the Flirting 101 guide, and even when I read it now, I'm like, damn, I gave some good tools and some tips in there that I could have charged money for, but I didn't because I want to give value and build some trust with you guys. So definitely go grab that, and then there's 5 different ways you could break out of a boring conversation. 2 of the ways that I have in there in the guide, which much more details, I have them written down, it's a really good guide, is humor and teasing. So the easiest way to incorporate humor is when you get asked a question. Okay, I love to tell guys to just give a funny response. If a girl asks you a question, right? She says, where are you from? And you say, you know, I'm from the North Pole. I used to be an elf, but Santa cast me out because he caught me stealing toys, and he sent me down here to the United States. And I thought I was going to be small and have huge ears forever, but I actually adapted. I started eating fast food, and then I adapted to be American. So I got taller, but I got fat. My ears got shorter, and I actually got stupider. So now I'm a typical American, right? So that's just me riffing, whatever it may be, right? But just something to break out of the normal conversation, show you have a sense of humor. Most guys, okay, when I ask guys, what are you looking for? And they write down the list, just about every single student of mine says, I would like a girl with a sense of humor. So this humor that we're bringing in with flirting, it does many things, but it also does screening, and it screens a girl out to see if she has a sense of humor. You can't necessarily ask a girl, hey, do you have a good sense of humor? You got to bring the jokes in and then see how she responds to it. So you want to bring the humor in first, see how she goes. And then teasing. Teasing is just playing a little hard to get, giving her some shit and be like, okay, you know, that's enough, or like, oh man, you're so loud, or oh, you're such a brat, or you're staying out of trouble, or I don't know about you yet. I'm not sure. You know, just giving her a little bit of shit, teasing her. Like I said, I have a whole bunch of examples in the flirting guide, but that's really going to help you out. You know, if you want to, let me zoom out here. If you want to screenshot this and save this into your phone, I mean, this is a great thing to think of, to add into your conversations. Like I said, most guys will have the normal conversation to build that base level rapport, but they won't answer the questions. They won't share about themselves. They'll completely forget to not only build their hobbies and become a great guy. You know, I don't think you should tell stories that someone else gave you. I think you should make interesting stories and develop things that make you an interesting person, and then talk about them and share them with people. Then you want to be a man of integrity and somebody who has standards, and you want to know what your goals are and what you're looking for, and now start to screen for those in your conversation. You want to listen to what the girl's saying. Don't be so consumed with what you're saying, because if you listen, the girl will give you material. She'll get invested. She likes talking anyway, and you can now steer that conversation and screen for what you're going for. And then her talking will also give you opportunities to tease her, to bring in humor, and to flirt with her, and all those things. So this is an awesome list. It's a big sticking point. Like I said, it even is tied to a fear of the approach, because guys are afraid of running out of things to say. So if you are worried about what to talk about with girls, you know, that's the big thing. What do I talk about with girls? What do I talk about with girls? Here you go. This is your roadmap to get started. Take all the interest points, make your list, cultivate your interests, read the flirting guide, and you know, take a little bit of time on this and work on these skills. I've been doing this for a long time. I guarantee this will help you out. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask for me in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. I give you a lot of solid information in here, so I would save this and go back and watch it over again. Like I said, I usually only give this information out to guys who pay me a lot of money over a 3-day boot camp. So I hope you got some value out of this. If you have any questions, let me know. And when you're ready, I will have the next video for you right over here. Have a great day.